So anyway, where were we?
How do we serve the people of Japan?
The team, not just you.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, of course, we're here as a church planting team. So the primary way we serve the people of Japan is by helping to establish strong and vibrant churches. And our team has done that here. Their original goal in 1993, when they began the work here, was to establish a presbytery by the year 2000. And they've done that, and the East Tokyo Presbytery is now the strongest in the Presbyterian Church of Japan, the PCJ, the host denomination that we work with here. And the churches here that we work with are vibrant, and they have a mentality of outreach and evangelism and planting daughter churches. The church, generally speaking, in Japan is weak. There are many older congregations that are shrinking. The pastors are old. The churches are often closed. That is to say, they don't really welcome new people, which is not what a church should look like. So the primary way I think we serve the people in Japan is demonstrating a vibrant Christian community. Of course, directly introducing them to Jesus Christ is how we grow the church. And we do a lot of activities associated with bringing people into the church, teaching them about Jesus. In Japan, that's a very slow effort. It takes an average of 4 years from first introduction of the gospel before people who do make a profession of faith make that profession of faith.
So what are some of these activities that you're talking about?
We call them side door activities. Primary side door activities that we have right now are our English outreach classes. We have almost 200 students in several different locations taking English classes. We also sponsor, as sort of a club activity, gospel music. Gospel music is organized and led by church people, but most of the participants are not Christians. They're people from the community. But every rehearsal, they have a brief devotional and prayer. So they're being exposed, and of course the music has gospel content.
So now, who is leading those gospel choirs? Are they Americans or?
No, Asami-san leads the gospel choir, a young Japanese lady who's going to America next week. In fact, she and her husband are planning to go to seminary in America.
Where?
And come back to Japan. Don't know yet, but probably someplace where gospel music is big. And they will hopefully return to Japan really equipped to enhance their worship music knowledge and ability and spread that throughout the Japanese church as well.
Cool. So when a church like West Valley is interested in kind of becoming a part of your ministry here, how can we do that? What ways can we get involved?
Well, of course, the primary way is to pray. We send out a monthly prayer letter for our team that includes elements not only of our own local team, but other activities in Japan as well. We have prayer groups around the country who support us with prayer, and to have, maybe if you have small groups or prayer groups, if one of those could take on systematically praying for Japan, I'll send you the ask and receive prayer request each month, and if people at West Valley would commit to praying for us, that would be the number one thing. Of course, my experience is that praying for and about something leads to action too, so we would invite and love if we had, and we're thankful to you for sending Catherine to help us this week. It's really fabulous. But if you were to be able to send short-term teams to explore more about Japan, Japan really gets under your skin. Sharon and I came here 21 years ago when we were in the Navy, and we never really got over our Japan experience. And now we came back 20 years later as elderly missionary couple. And so we would love you to send short-term teams. We'd also we would love for you to be involved long-term. Many churches make deep commitments to the mission field. I know many churches are deeply committed to missions in Africa. Many churches are deeply committed to missions in China. And similarly, we have churches supporting the work here, who have a long-term commitment and a deep commitment to Japan.
What does a deep commitment look like?
It looks like sending teams year after year. Sometimes it means we've had churches who, we had one church that essentially put a Japanese man through seminary in America.
Wow.
And supported him until he came back and are still supporting him. We had a church essentially fund a new church plant for several years until that church plant got off the ground. It's now a self-supporting church. It has elders, it has a dynamic pastor, and they are now beginning their first daughter church. So some churches have very large resources and they can make a commitment like that. But to contribute in any way to the work here, and particularly we have several individuals itinerating, raising support to come over and to help some of those folks get to the field or to contribute to some of the work here. A very practical and modest, that is to say attainable financial commitment would be to help our publishing committee. We can publish CCEF booklets for about $2,000 at the price of the translation, the printing, and the distribution of a CCF booklet.
Talk about Jesus Storybook Bible.
Jesus Storybook Bible, and I hope everybody at West Valley is familiar with it, but our team took on the translation and publishing of the Jesus Storybook Bible, and it was finished about 2 years ago, and it's been widely distributed.
Longer than that.
3, 4.
I don't know, but you
Several.
weren't getting ready to leave for Japan when
It came out.
we were giving money.
It's
So-
published,
That was 2 years
and
ago.
It was more than that.
there have been several printings now.
I mean, we're getting ready.
There are several printings of the Jesus
Really?
Storybook Bible. Yeah. In fact, recently a large number of them were distributed up in the damaged area. We're using them sometimes in our English language classes, sometimes for Bible time. It's been very well received. And one of the ladies, the lady who translated it is married to one of our team members. So we're doing this sort of in-house. It's very economical. Good Christian literature is not widely available in the Japanese language.
So what other things have they translated besides the CF things in the Storybook Bible? Some things people might know.
Prodigal God came out recently. It's in its 3rd printing, I think. Yeah. Well, these are modest printings.
Okay.
The Christian book buying community here is pretty small, but it's been well received. We're translating Counterfeit Gods right now. Those are the big ones. The other titles we've translated are probably less well known. They're Japan specific kind of things. Although there's some, I think, Lee Strobel, Evidence That Demands a Verdict, I think is available in Japanese. And some Sproul works also,
Yeah.
but we didn't do
So-
those ourselves.
Are they working on Reason for God too? Didn't I read that
Is it
somewhere?
Reason for God they're working on?
I think they are working on Reason for God.
The CCF material and some of the Keller works is what's in the pipeline now.
Cool. So, getting back to West Valley being involved, if teams were to come over, what kinds of things would they be doing?
Well, right now, many teams have come over to do work up in the damaged area. Of course, there's not an immediate crisis anymore up there. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of temporary shelter. Many people are living in temporary shelters. But there are a number of things that can be done up there, including rehabbing houses if construction workers come, or just labor teams come. There's a lot of work still to do, simple basic work of cleaning out houses. Think of Katrina, but over a much wider area. So it goes on for a long time. But we're also engaged in more community relations type activities as well. And at this point, those are really important. Many people are out of work. Many people are living away from the neighborhoods they lived in. And there are many elderly people, and there are a lot of very discouraged people in that area, as we were talking about with the children's program, potentially. Things to cheer kids up, to get them to express themselves, to enrich their lives with sports camps, vacation Bible school-like things, English camps, anything for kids to be engaged and cheered up is good.
So what are you doing for the elderly?
The visiting teams haven't done a lot, but the Japanese teams are going up regularly. We do feeding, community feeding. We do some singing. We've recently started English classes for some of the retired folks up there. Groups go up and do things like massage therapy. A lot of concerts. We've done a lot of concerts. So almost anything that's, a fun activity, bingo. Whatever. I think we did bingo. We did a huge Christmas dinner, fed about 200 people at Christmas.
Was there a Thanksgiving one too?
And a Thanksgiving one as well.
So.
And a worship service and living nativity.
Yeah.
For Christmas.
Yeah, we did a worship service Christmas Day. Didn't have as many people as Christmas dinner, but this is a community. The community we're primarily working in has not had any gospel presence at all. No churches.
Wow. That's Ishinomaki.
Ishinomaki Watanoha Hoganehama.
Wow. Well,
Go ahead.
anything else? You
Well,
want to
there
add
are
any
many
stories you'd
activities
like
around
to
here
tell,
too.
or-
Well, Chiba Center City is our next church plant for our team. And we're preparing the ground there now with English classes. Catherine went out today to help promote the English classes in the rain.
And
passing
tell
out.
them what I did.
She passed out chirashi.
And you'll have to tell
63 chirashi in 1/2 hour. It's an unheard of rate of chirashi are flyers, leaflets that we use to invite people to our classes. We have about 40 students now each week, and we hope to grow that. We hope to double it this year to 80 students, and in a year and a half or 2 years we hope to begin serious church planting there. We have an Australian minister coming to be the church planter.
Now, tell them what happens with English classes.
English classes we charge for because we try to have quality English, and English being taught by a native English speaker is highly valued in Japan. So we do an hour's English class that is like a traditional English class here, followed by half-hour Bible time. And that's more social. It's voluntary. Students are not required to come, but because Japanese people are very orderly and do exactly what they're told as a rule, they remain, even though they're given the opportunity to leave if they have to or would like to. But we have half-hour Bible time, and right now most of our classes are going through the Gospel of Luke.
We just finished 2 years in Luke. 2 years. We know it kind of well.
I suspect your study of Luke was in more depth in a cross-cultural and bilingual environment. Our lessons are pretty simple, but Luke is great. He exposes hypocrisy constantly.
So what kind of response have people had to the Bible studies?
Recently, Sharon, one of Sharon's students, my wife's students, has made a profession of faith. She's been around the church here for 10 years. On again, off again, participating in English classes, occasionally attending worship. And recently, she just seems on fire for Jesus. And
This is the student, not your wife.
my wife is always on fire for Jesus.
I meant the 10 years. I'm going, wait a minute, but.
The student has been in and out for 10 years.
Okay.
Recently has professed faith, and now she's in a baptism class. So that's a good example. One of our Chiba students is in baptism class also.
And she's, Junko is also attending Bible classes now.
Right. Sharon's student's going to Bible class. Actually, she's my student now. But she's your English Bible study student, and mine as well. So that's a great example. Many students stay in the classes for years. A 70-year-old lady told me last week her husband died last year. She really cared for him and really missed him. But her English class, she's not a Christian. The other ladies in the class are not Christians, but that was her primary support group when her husband died. And she expressed her thanks for that.
Wow. Well, anything else you want to add?
Well, again, I want to express your thanks for sending Catherine, both last summer and now to help us while our pastor, Jack Howell, is here. And really would love to have any of you come and stay with us. And we'll probably be back in the States next year. We'd love to come share with you when we come back.
Next year being
2013.
2013.
Career
Okay.
missionaries. Send career missionaries.
Send career missionaries.
Okay.